Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. I would like to give you a brief overview and a demonstration of FrontierBlox Engine, especially our new feature which is the custom rules. But before, I will give you a brief overview about FrontierBlox Engine and what is designed for. So it is designed to simplify the management and the enforcement of regulation within blockchain applications. So its purpose is to enhance security and ensure compliance and provide real-time monitoring for blockchain transactions. So now let's start our demonstration. This is the overall dashboard. It provides an overview of metrics across all projects associated with this user. This includes the health score, the total unique callers, the total calls, the total gas used, the monitor project, and so on. And let's go to the rules section. This is the default rules, which include 4 predefined rules. The first one is amount limitation, which sets a maximum or a minimum value for a transaction. There is forbidden accounts, which block transaction involving addresses on blacklists. There is geographical restriction, which limits transaction based on location. And there is the KYC or know your customer rule, which allow transaction only from whitelist addresses. And in addition of these, we also provide the custom rules. These allows the user to create their own rules to specific needs of their projects. So let's start by creating a new custom rule. We can provide a name and a brief description. In this case, I will give it the name identity verification with this description. And I have to add the protected field. For example, here I will add the approved address. It represents the addresses that we are waiting from the user to verify. Their type is by default address, and the access policy is required. So if we blacklist these addresses, we should select the forbid, or if there is an amount, we can select greater than or less than, and so on. And we can add the data link profile. For example, here in the identity verification, I will add a structure that is named identity, and I have to add some attributes. For example, here the full name with type string. I add country code associated to this identity, and it's also a string. We can add, for example, the KYC-level with type uint, and for example, I can add is valid and with type boolean. I guess that's enough for the structure. I can add also access condition. For example, here I can choose the KYC-level and choose the KYC is greater than 1 or 2. For example, here I can add the KYC-level should be greater than 2. And yes, I can save the new rule. We can see the preview of this rule. First, we have predefined the events of the access control. We have an add admin, remove admin, check if an address is an admin, and transfer ownership. And also we predefine the identity structure, including the attribute fields. And also we have the predefined the events to update and register or remove a new identity, and also the events to by adding a new approved address or removing them, check them, and so on. And we have function to register identity, registering identity by batch and removing identity. Also a function to check if to get the identity of an address. And this is the list management of the approved address. So we have the add an address and associated with a selector, remove an address and associated to a selector, and also all the time we emit events for the traceability and the logs. And here we configure the validation rule that contains the expected KYC level, and to see if the if this rule is active or not. And also we have the event. We set a KYC level validation rule, remove it, or check if a rule is active per a selector. And we have the validation to check if an address by a selector is the transaction can pass or not, and a log function. So this is all about the structure of the rule. Let's to show the behavior of this new rule. Let's create a new project. Let's name the project identity verification project. I will upload a smart contract and deploy it into Sepolia testnet. This is the smart contract. Now this is our smart contract. These are the rules in this smart contract. Here we can see the preview of the content of a smart contract. This is a simple Ether wallet. We have the get balance and transfer Ether functions. Now I will choose to apply the identity verification rule into this smart contract, and I have to configure the value of the KYC level limit into this rule. For example, here I will configure it to. Otherwise, I will push the rules, meaning that I have to inject the rules and deploying the rules. I will deploy the identity verification rule here. And this transaction is to configure the rule validation. Okay, now this is the complete logs of this deployment. Once deployed, we can check the code after the injection. So here we imported the new rule, and we added the initialize function to initialize the address with its address. And also here we have the transfer function that contains the log function for the monitoring part, and the check function to revert the transaction if the addresses are not verified. So let's deploy this new contract. And here we interact with initialize function to initialize the contract with the address of the identity verification rule. Now the contract is active now. We get two notifications. The first one that say that my address that ends with 29 is now admin. This is an event from the constructor. And the second one is for the rule validation of the KYC level that shows that we configure 2 as the minimum KYC level. Now let's go back to the project dashboard. Here we have the project dashboard that contains almost the same metrics or card as the overall project, and we have here the smart contract dashboard that is more detailed. It contains the health score, the date of creation, which means the deployment, the balance, the total calls, the total used gas, the error rates. It shows when the EVM is reverting the smart contract. Here we have the rules activity. For the moment we have two triggered events that considered as configurations. We have the top address colors, description, and so on. There is a lot of metrics here. Now let's start by interacting with our smart contract. I will get the address and the API here. First, I have to feed my contract. Let's change it to wait. Okay, now it's true. So let's go back here and check the balance in way. So now we have a gas fee in our smart contract. Let's try to send ethers to my wallet. Transfer. I will transfer this amount to my address here. We can see here that we have a transaction that is blocked, and we receive a notification that say that me as a sender and a receiver are both blacklisted for the moment, and there is a suspicious event that is here, and also we can say that the balance doesn't change. Now let's whitelist myself and see what's happened. But before, let's take the address and the API of the rule. So let's KYC myself here in this contract. But before, I have to take the selector. The selector is the hash for the transfer function. Okay, well done. So now let's try to interact with my contract and see what's happened. Okay, so the first notification here to say that I have configured my address as KYC or as a whitelist address. But the problem here that the transaction is reverted, which means the structure of my address is not yet defined. And also, if we verify the balance, is not changing. So let's add the register identity. Okay, this is my address that ends with 29. My full name is Aisha. The country code is Morocco, for example, here. And the KYC level, let's say that is 3. And sure. Okay. Now after adding my identity structure, let's try to do this transaction again. Okay. Now this is the logs. We can see that a transaction is succeeding. This transaction is succeeding, and all items are passed, and also the balance changes. So yes, this is how it works mainly. And thank you all for your listening and for your time.